Hey folks, figured I'd give you all an update on where we are with the Quasar carrier. So, a lot of work's been done on the top lately. That's been the most recent addition. Still working out some of the things with the lines and such. So I'm not happy with how these are ending. Kind of looks ridiculous. So, worst case scenario, I'll try some sort of LCD system to get these connect to look right. But otherwise, yeah, coming along with the top. Still got to do some finessing and such. So this is just like a preliminary texture placement. Now, things that aren't going to be impacted by doing a clear pivot. Saving that later for once that's done. But for the most part, getting there. Maybe maybe I want to put a little bit more definition, but I'm kind of getting close on the size class. I'm trying to stay within a size class 21, and we're at 19 right now, so we still got a couple other regions that we want to do some definition. So maybe this will be fine. It's robust enough. I don't know, maybe these are a lot of big open flat spaces here. Still could do some cut-ins and such, a few here and there to break that up. But I don't want to disrupt it too much, being that's going to be your landing area, and I want to try to stay away from doing some shenanigans where you're getting caught up, getting out of a vehicle or something, getting caught up in these sort of trenches. So I want to keep that to a minimum. So that's the big area that's been developed recently. Now, I do have some other things going on. I've been doing a lot of good interior work. I guess last I showed it, didn't show the work that's been done on the bottom, but it's coming along. Now, what I did do is, so these are the module systems, the docking areas for these. So what I did is I kind of changed the color to more better emulate the hangar door. So has more of a authentic look to it. Looks like it's part of the system. So that was part of the Quasar from Star Wars lore, is that it has the four hangar doors. They're open, but that wouldn't work for this. So kind of went with the closed ones, and I wasn't sure what I was going to do with this whole system right here for receiving the modules, but decided to try and emulate the hangar doors a little bit, and it looks like it works out pretty good. So pleased with that. Another thing I did was I stretched the bottom of this. I pulled this down one more block, so that way the ramp's going to line up with the bottom of this here once the landing gear is put on. So that's the thing. Now, as far as the exterior, I'm still just finessing. Still probably going to be doing some block work around the edges and stuff like that. Now here, I'm working on something that's going to emulate like a adjudicator, or maybe some sort of retribution has those flares on the edge of the wings, just to give it a little bit of spice. So that region to work on. Some block work to be done on this back here. I'm not sure if I'm gonna go with how this thruster house configuration is. Maybe I'd have one solid unit for either side. Still trying to play that out, see how that looks, but getting close. Uh, yeah, so that's really the biggest region left is just this for the exterior. Now, I do want to do some additional work here on the bottom, some cut-ins and stuff like I got going on here, so a little bit more work left to be done with that. But overall, the exterior is coming along quite nicely, and the interior's, I don't know. Do I want to say almost done? That's kind of where I feel. Let's take another look here at the top deck. So one thing is trying to keep some of the entrances accessible. So we've got a couple here on either flank and the front here. So this is a good entry here going towards the front bridge. Now there is also a drone hatch that'll bring you even closer. So you just won't have an exit out to that unless you jetpack. So really quick access there. The entrances on either side, they are also close to an alternative control station. So we got this here. Now this is, I'm thinking this would be more of like a planet side control station, but also work for auxiliary just for maneuvering the ship. If you don't want to be bothered with going up to the front of the bridge. But I'm thinking like, this could work as not only that, but if you do choose to weaponize this and you put weapons on the bottom of it, this could be probably a preferable bridge in regards to going after POIs and such. It'll give you a little more control. You can see where your fire's going and all that stuff. So that's a thing. Now, as far as the interior, let's go ahead and take a look at that. I'm just going to fly up into space real quick. Since the lighting's a little bit better, give you a better representation of what we got going on. I'm looking at getting this thing in at Core 9 for certain. Easily Core 9, I'm feeling. But beyond that, quite possibly even like a Core 7. That's potentially possible. I did convert the ship. It was formerly steel, all steel with a lot of Xeno and combatant areas. Now, how I reconfigured that is I just blanket converted everything. I did leave Xeno. I'm sorry, I did leave combat steel at the front, so to give that front section some rigidity to kind of work as a decoy. Do have some decoys up front. Not sure where. Not sure where they went. They're buried pretty good apparently. But so that's a thing. So armor at the front of the nose. Now the rest of the ship is going to be largely plastic to do a weight savings, and so doing that conversion, I dropped 8 kilotons. So that's going to be substantial as far as for it actually fulfilling a carrier role. Now I will leave. So I did have. Let's actually take a look. I'll show you what I'm talking about here. So going to the back area, we're still doing a little bit of work on the back wall. I'm looking at. I want to break this area up. I haven't slotted in the small shield parts, so I'm thinking this is going to be a good area. I'll probably break that up doing some sort of small shield part mounts or something to that effect. But so what I was going on about earlier, some of the changes I did is formerly these were like large shield compartments and stuff. Now the option is I'm thinking. So formerly this was like Xeno steel and combat steel, and I did convert it down to just standard steel. So there is some level of protection. It's not the greatest mitigation, but it's there. So I'm thinking like, okay, maybe you want to go like large shield parts here, or for vanilla players or reforging players that feel they don't need all that, this could be converted to something of a protected container system. Just put in some extensions and containers there. So that's a thing. Now, I previously, before, I didn't have a setting for the standard shield, and I've worked that in already. So this is what we're looking at right here, as well as the warp drive is connected to that. So Pentax it there. Here's the mounted warp drive. I do have gravity covering the whole ship, so, and I'm thinking of putting these on a toggle. So apparently, some of the feedback is people aren't necessarily fans of gravity generators, so I'll leave that as a toggle option. So now we're looking at pretty much, as far as what I was mentioning before, I think I got some work to do on this back wall for the shields, but I think this hangar area is pretty much good to go. So we're looking at a couple, be spawning with a couple small constructors, probably do like 1 or 2 advanced, but I'm gonna leave that up to you if you just want to outsource that to modular systems, but I will make clear the areas where you can put them. I'll flag that. Yeah, so same thing with the, actually I guess I didn't show you that. So back here we do have, just a standard shield, but we also have space for, so we got a couple options here. So we could go 4 advanced generators per compartment, and there's 2 compartments, so that could give you 8 total. And that could be your CPU before you upgrade to fusion reactors. Or again, if you want to do like how we have with the other system with the shield parts. You could just convert this to a some sort of protected storage area. So there's that. Now, I'm thinking, originally I was thinking going here for the small shields, but maybe I'll just do RP for that, or some sort of flare, because I feel, I don't know. Does this look okay, or should this be broken up? So let me know what you think in the comments below, but I'm thinking it's kind of too long of a run, and could do for some breakups, so I'd do some sort of shield mountings, like I was mentioning earlier. This area here is kind of just deco and stuff, so we could leave this open for crew placement and stuff. Like these little bits can come out. So that would work you towards your CPU with that. Now again, we have another system here for the medium shield parts, or it could be some additional protected cargo if you wanted to do that. Still working out. There's going to be a bunch of LCDs. Like this would be like an Imperial logo or Rebel logo, or however you want to place it. Farms, I did cut the farm size down a little bit. I didn't realize that originally I had an additional plot right here, but the problem is that this is going to punch through the floor. So I didn't realize that. It's kind of a bonehead maneuver. So you did lose 9 grow plots, so the onboard is going to just be 18, but again, you could always outsource the farming to a attachable module. So again, these are going to take Helios size modules, so we've got space for 1, 2, and then there's going to be 1 right here, so whichever one is your more trafficked one would be ideal to keep up front there. Would be close to the forward bridge. Right, so that's the farm. Now moving up to the central spine, we've got a little bit of stuff here as far as like deco and such. You got oxygen, insignificant stuff. A little bit of RP stuff going on here as well, so more space for crew placement. Like a captain's quarters here. So trying to capture the Imperial vibe. A little bit of red here and there, some charcoal and light gray color scheme going on. So a little look over the operation here. Be able to dial people up and complain to them. Terrible docking procedures with the modules, and I'm sure the pilots will be able to hear about that. Okay, so let's take a look here. We're going forward. So this is going to be our CPU area. Now, there's a few areas that are protected, namely the bridge, and the CPU area is going to be either hardened steel or combat steel. So, and we're looking at a 32 core system. So we have our standard 9 here. And let's see, yeah, it's like 32 cores. So it'd be good for some Oxes, Quantums, and if you need to, you could just plop in some RTGs and you'd be good to go. So again, taking a look at the bridge here, just moving forward. Not really too much done. Working on lighting and a little bit of texturing here and there, but not too many changes done as far as the forward bridge area. Now, I'll probably have to move this seat back because there's issues with getting caught up in that area. But, personally, I like the panorama of it up front like this, but probably have to dial that back, move it back 1 block just to get that looking right and behaving right. Yeah, so forward bridge area, it's full deployment, full medical, armor lockers, all that jazz. Nice little lighting effect going on here with the truss blocks. Pretty cool. I like it. So moving towards the back of the ship. Now we'll go over the auxiliary control area. So we're going back in here. We've got our crew areas that we had a look at. Transition area here. Now, this is going to be solar, so you'll be able to max this out. So I'm thinking like optional solar placement, reforging players, or for vanilla, this could be an additional storage area. And so I'll have to map that out with lines and LCDs and such, explaining how that is, but should be pretty comprehensible once I'm done with it. A little bit of RP action going on here. Again, some, you could gut this and put in some crew members in this area. These right here come out, etc. Again, this is the auxiliary control stations. We have one on either side. So it's a nice little look here. All right, so yep. So let's take you straight to hangar area. So pretty clean on the connection points. I didn't want to have too much of a fuss about transitioning to your control points real fast from your docking area. So at your hangar area, you come in with your SV or whatever, you're going to be able to have a quick access here to control station. Same thing with the docking on top of the pad, so again, quick access there. Now, so I have something going on here as far as the cargo systems. I will have an onboard couple 320Ks. I think I have four 320s or thereabouts. That's going to be the onboard. So I have something going on here. I'm trying. Had an idea to do it on a different build, but I never executed it. But so the thing I'm looking at here is, let me just take a walk through here. Enjoy the panorama. Trying out some new block combinations and such. Don't really use these things, but pretty cool. And then the new rounds, they got some cool 3/4 action going on that I could use. So what I'm looking at doing here, what I was mentioning about the container system is I want to have an option where either you can set up a 320 or you can configure it to a 640 system. Now, how that's going to work is I'm going to have, let's see if I can find a joint. Right, so not that one. Okay, right here. So these are two complete systems, like this little section here and then the section here. This is two systems. These are two 320s. So the way it's going to work is you'll have this here, this box. This is one. Now, if you wanted to connect it, rather than having two 320s, you would remove this block, and then you would just add one of the container extensions to this section right here. And that would connect these two systems, and then that would give you a 640. So I wanted to leave that option open. So some people, they like the 640s on CVs. Me personally, I prefer 320s due to item type limits. I tend to max those out because some would say I'm messy with my storage. I disagree, but there's people like me out there and they might prefer a 320 as well. So that'll be an option. So 320 or 640. Again, that's just for onboard storage. Now, if you don't want to do that and you just want to outsource your storage to a module, that's fine. I'm going to leave this area open. I'm not going to commit to it. I'll leave it open and try my best to leave some intuitive cues as to how you're going to do that. And then also LCDs, Captain's Academy explaining that and such. But leave it open. So there'll be three options here. You could configure these to like a 320 system or a 640, or if you want to, you could just block the whole thing in and cut down on some size class. That's a thing. Yeah, I think that's it. So again, I'm looking at trying to get this thing in at Core 9. I've run the numbers on it. Core 9 looks like that's a certainty. Very easily certain. Now, that's not going to be with all these drive thrusters. Let's see, where are we at on this? Just to make sure. Yeah, we got some auxiliary in already. 4 of them. But we'll have a good number of forward drive thrusters. probably cut these down to 2 drive thrusters for strafe and lift and reverse and all that stuff. But yeah, so the target's going to be like core 7 or quite possibly even a core 6. Some light defenses, flak or minigun, something like that. The bulk of the drive thrust are going to be in the back, and there's going to be a lot of area open for expansion that you'll be able to throw in if it's not sufficient, which probably won't be once you're fully loaded. So that's going to be a thing. So you'll be able to spin that towards the thrust to meet your needs. Again, so the weights drop down dramatically. So I guess prior to this, I was going for kind of like the concept of maybe something like a battle carrier, but a lot of you were saying just, drop the weight and try and pursue a traditional carrier role. So we can lean towards that. Now, we also will have the option if we want to, since there is a little bit of rigidity in those, maybe some people would want to opt for some sort of light cruiser role. So that's not completely gone. Again, you'll have the compartments to fill out all the shield parts if you want to do that. So, you're talking like 180, 200,000 with a bastion shield and the large shield parts as far as the shields go. So it will be able to commit in some capacity as a fighter should you want to do that. Or could make for a pretty robust like asteroid miner. So that's going to be an option. So I'm thinking 3 roles here, traditional carrier or, just like some sort of heavy CV miner, and that could be a role, or if you want to, just some sort of light cruiser. So I'm leaving some options open, right? So I don't know if I want to necessarily look at it from the perspective of this is a carrier and that's it. I want it to be looked at as sort of like a multi-role ship. And I think it can fulfill that. You've got connections for 3 module systems, which if those are fully loaded, they're not going to be too excessive compared to some of the other carriers that hold 6 or whatever. So if you can imagine those fully loaded in the numbers of 6, that's going to take a big strain on the carrier system. So not having so many, you could dedicate a little bit more of the CPU towards weapons or whatever, should that be a case. It happens like that sometimes. You jump into a system and then immediately you're jumped by a bigger ship. So maybe some of you out there, you want to pursue some sort of respectable system of protection. So I want to leave that as an option. So I didn't want to just end on the medium-sized shield parts. I wanted to leave it open for anybody who wanted to utilize it as a light cruiser role or just as a protected carrier. Some respectable shield value. All right, so yeah, that's it. I'll keep the updates rolling on this. It's cranking pretty fast. I like it. Enjoying having good sessions with it. Textures and stuff again. Basically, the big areas are just like how am I going to break this up? What am I going to do to deco it up? The back section here and the bottom. And once that's done, clear pivot, do some texturing, and off to the workshop it goes. So, yeah. That's it, folks. Till next time, LyfeForce out. Hey, folks, if you enjoy my content, please consider becoming a patron today. As a patron, you gain access to exclusive builds not featured on the workshop, early access builds, as well as participate in a number of things, including polls, feedback, comments, suggestions, ideas, or anything you'd like to submit to current and future builds. If any of this appeals to you, please consider becoming a patron today. Link in the pinned comment below. Thank you.